Hello YouTube, Melo SMS here. So we are getting very close now to the release of Lyrical Monasterio. What I'm actually going to do is I'm going to quickly do deck lists for each of their ride lines. These are only going to be basic day one version. Most of these will be untested. If you do want to see the tested versions, I very much would check out the deck breakdown series I'm doing. Felty Rosa one is already up as of the time this video is going live, with the Celestial one following up shortly. Those ones will be full tests. These ones just basic lists based on what I think will work and what I've seen other people use. So we are going to start off with the one that we've already mentioned that we know is I know works, is Felty Rosa. As you can see from the list here, we've got the 7 crits, 4 draws, 4 heals, 1 over trigger, 4 PGs, 4 Helminas, 4 Anestas, 4 Hyalwigs, 4 Elenas, 3 copies of Annalise, 4 Ingrids, the 3 remaining Felty Roses, and obviously the ride line. So this is just your basic multi-attack deck, 5 attacks, comboing off with what you've got off your top checks, whether it be the Hyalwigs, the Elenas, the Ingrids, multiple things you can work with, lots of fun. Nice, simple. It's honestly a very simple deck for beginners to pick up and play. Next one I'm going to look over is going to be what's deemed as the best deck of the Lyricals, which is Lorena Roll. So obviously here we've got the 1 over trigger, 8 crits, 3 draws, 4 heals. We're then playing 1 copy of the Spring Order, which is called Romantic Happiness. Then we're playing 3 copies of Louisa. We're playing 4 PGs. We're playing 1 of the Summer Order, Twilight Sound of Waves. Then 3 copies of the Autumn Order, Madder Red Runway. 4 copies of Dancing Score Elmar, 3 copies of Candid Big Sister Audrey, and 4 copies of Honest Council President Eknoa, 4 copies of the Winter Order, 6 Flower Fractal, 3 copies of Heartfelt Song Lorena Roll, and then obviously the Lorena Roll Ride Chain. So obviously this is your swing with Vanguard, gain crit, gain Sentinel Trick, restand your rear guards, gain big numbers, all whilst having a crit from the Autumn Order. Again, it's another simple, easy to pick up deck. It's more down to knowing when to activate your skills, when to pick which order to use. You have got the extra flexibility. Obviously, you've got the bigger shields in Elma, you've got the bigger base power in Audrey. I do like the ones Twilight Sound of Waves for the fact of if you do go first, you can play this on your ride up from 2 to 3. Because obviously, if you end up playing the Madder Red one runway, you do not get the effect because your opponent's Vanguard is not grade 3. So having that, some people do cut that around the 4th Madder, but that's my personal preference of why I think that one's better. Next up is the other one that is showing a massive improvement to the format, is going to be Clarissa. Clarissa is going to be the 1 over trigger, 8 crits, 3 fronts this time, 4 heals, 4 draws. Literally, its deck self-builds itself because it's literally 4 Trilbys, 4 Leonas, I run 3 copies of Evelina. Then you run 4 copies of Catalin, 4 copies of Evelyn, 4 aim to be the strongest idol. You're missing 3 Clarissas, and then the ride deck. Honestly, this deck builds itself. You literally have 3 flex spots, which for my flex spots I went for Evelina, which is a 15k shield from hand for the cost of a Soul Blast. Really good. Obviously, you only have 3 fronts because you don't need draws because you're drawing so much from the combination of Clarissa and aim to be strongest idol. Fronts give you that extra nice little bit of power to your front row. Honestly, it's another auto build deck, easy to pick up, very good for beginners, but works wonders. Next one up is going to be Ballista. This one is the one I've not properly looked into. This is heavily based off what I've seen Kuroneko playing. This isn't going to be his exact list because I don't know his ratios. This is what I've just chucked together. I am going to be testing Ballista eventually to find out what I like with the deck, what I don't like with the deck. But we have got the Overtrigger, 8 crits, 3 fronts, 4 heals, 4 PGs. Then we're running 4 copies of Alivera, I think it's pronounced. 4 True Heart Rubies, 4 Everlasting Sapphires, 2 copies of Dreaming Pupils Emmeline, 4 copies of Unrelenting Talent Henrietta, 2 copies of Wish Fulfilled by a Pair Milia, 3 copies of Ottilie, 3 copies of Ballista, and the Riot Line. So the way that I've seen Kuro playing this deck, it's a very aggro deck, chucking down all your hand, forcing big numbers as quickly as possible, utilising Henrietta, who obviously Soul Blast to gain the power of the shield boost in this unit, which obviously you'd be chucking your crits and your fronts behind it. So you're gaining a 20k booster to making her 30k, 40k on Persona Ride, 45 if you end up using the Sapphire. Obviously really big numbers. Use Ballista to build a board out of nothing, which is really nice. And then obviously use True Heart Ruby to block off opponent's intercepts whilst making her big. Is honestly, it does take a lot of thought to play Ballista. As much as people thinking, oh, it's just monkey, swing big numbers, crit game, you do need to know when to use your Soul Blasts, when to use your Ballista skills. It does take thought process behind it. You do have to properly think with this deck. Then next one up I'm going to cover is going to be Kyri. This is the one that I've actually been testing. I'm still not sure on my list because I am still playing around with it. But this is the one I am playing around with the most at the moment. So obviously you've got the Overtrigger, you've got your 8 crits, your 3 draws, you've got your 4 heals, 4 PGs, 4 copies of Shia, 3 copies of Afterlife School Katina, then 4 copies of True Hearted Ruby, 1 copy of Dedicated Serenade Eleanor, 4 copies of A Pressing Kindness Virginia, 4 copies of Brilliance and Elegance Iris, 3 copies of Selfie Practice Annalise, 3 copies of Aces Kyri, and then you got the entire Aces Riot line. Some people do change the grade 1 of the Riot line for the grade 1 of Ballista's Riot line, so you can guarantee your stones, and obviously you can then cut back on a couple of stones, play a few extra tech options. But that all comes down to personal preference again. This is the list I've been playing with. I've been really enjoying the list. I think it's a really good starting point for the deck. And to finish up, we are going to be going into Celestial. But what I'm actually doing for Celestial is I'm going to be providing 2 lists, because she's technically got 2 main builds in the Blackwings and the Whitewings. So we're going to start off with the Whitewings first. The Whitewings, we do have 1 Overtrigger, 8 crits, 3 draws, 4 heals. Then the 4 PGs. You're then running 4 copies of Little Peace Prail. Then we're running 4 copies of Sky Quivering Motion Malibule. Then we're going to run 4 copies of Cloudless Heart Miail. 4 copies of Wings with Rainbow Glow Erimuel. These names really do kill me sometimes. 3 copies of Brainy Player Bibuel. Then we've got 4 copies of Innocent Vocal Elkiel. 3 copies of Archangel of Twin Wings Celestial. And then you got the 4 cards in the Celestial Rad line. So Whitewings is obviously the crit pressure focused, aggro. You do still want the draw triggers to obviously draw into your combo pieces of Erimuel, Elkiel, and Miail. They're your 3 main combo pieces you want to be looking for, because obviously PR gets you what you're missing. Erimuel is literally your win condition, and Elkiel is literally what you want to be hitting, then Persona Riding to get both wings active, by a bit more of the aggro pressure. And obviously after the Whitewings, we do have the Blackwings. This one is a very, very interesting list, because obviously Blackwings is more of a control focused version. So, as per usual, the over trigger, 8 crits, 3 draws, 4 heals, 4 PGs. Then we run 3 copies of Flight to the Yonder Cheluel, 4 copies of Howling Ballad Faniel, 4 copies of Fleeting Longing Barrowell, 4 copies of Advent Stroke Shadail, 4 copies of Heavenly Recital Email, 4 copies of Innocent Vocal Elkiel, 3 copies of Celestial, and the 4 card Ride Line again. So obviously this one is very easy to get off your even grades in your bind zone. The only non-even targets are your Elkiel, which would activate your Blackwings anyway, your PGs, and your Persona Rides. Obviously with them you can manipulate the grade due to the fact of Shadail, which is really nice. You've got a lot of control on the board. You've got grade 2s that can boost, grade 2s that can bounce, grade 2s that minus power for your opponent's rear guards. Even got grade 2 that stuns, like Mega Conley, all whilst the Celestial's giving minus power to your opponent as well during your turn, so they've got a guard extra. Really rolling deck, I think is the best way to put it. But it's a lot of fun. But that is all we've got time for this video. If you haven't done so already, please do like, comment, subscribe. It very much does help the channel. We are so close to the 100 subs. I want to try and hit it before the actual case drops next week with Lyrical Monasterio. I shall catch you guys in the next video. Bye bye.